Hello and welcome back to another Demis Hellen tutorial. So we're going to look at something a little bit different today, and we're going to talk about wavetables and how we can custom design already made presets and then export these wavetables and import them into Rapid. You can make wavetables in Union, there's various other things in there, but the two main ones that I make wavetables in are Serum and Union, and then I can export them out into Rapid and vice versa as well. So let's take a look at just creating a simple waveform, and then I'll show you how to take it out of Serum and inject it into Rapid and create new wavetables. So you can see here I've already created one called Squaw2. I haven't saved that on Serum, but I'll just show you basically what I did and how I can get that in there from Serum. So if we just close Rapid for the time being and look at Serum, we have a nice standard default saw wave there, and we're just going to create something a little bit different. So we're going to create probably a 6-step just to keep this tutorial under the kind of 17-hour mark, because you can spend a lot of time building these if you're going to do it frame by frame as well. But there are multiple ways that you can process it and obviously speed up your process, but we're going to do it very simple. So here's a waveform, and we're going to create a variation of a saw. So I'm just going to quickly pick this ramp here, and we're just going to start remodeling this. And you can see here that we've got a grid on 8x8. We can set this differently here, and we can obviously fine tune it a little bit more, but we're just going to keep it simple. So you can see here, every second one, I'm just going to drag one up, one down. So technically, we have some sort of mirror images. Up, leave it, down, leave it. Then that's up, leave it, down, leave it. So we kind of have a mirror image nearly. It's just slightly different, but it's following that same pattern. There we are. That is our first frame changed. Second frame, just add it in. It'll copy this over, and we can go in and change this a little bit more. So we can go a bit more drastic using the same technique, just going 2 steps each way. Add a third one in, and let's just start getting creative. Let's add an upwards curve. In fact, let's add a downwards curve from there, and the same again with this one, but we'll have an upwards curve from 2 points. We'll have a downwards line to that point, and we'll join them. So I'm just making this up right now. This is how this goes. Let's just do that there. Let's make that look a little bit neater. There's no method to this madness, by the way. This is just adding things in and just making things look different. Again, we're just going to do 6. So we've got our 4th one here. Let's create a slightly different approach to this one. So you can see here, we're going to go for... In fact, let's jump that up. So all I'm doing is just making things look a little bit different here. Okay, and then we'll morph this into more of a square sound. As you can see, it's gone from that. Let's get a basic square. So let's just step it up a little bit so it looks a little bit different. Okay, so we've kind of got a square sound there, and then our final section, we could take it more to going back into a saw. Let's do that. So we start ramping that up like that, and this one could have that in there, and maybe have that like that. Okay, so that's our final frame, and we have 6 frames there, all different, and you can see here that's the final frame. If we skip through the wavetable position, it'll jump to each different shape we've made. And if we go to the 3D view, you can see that we've got our 6 independent shapes there. Now, that's great if you want to swap between each one individually, but we want them to morph. So what we can do in here is use morph here, and we can do different morph in here. We're just going to use crossfade. So hit crossfade, and that has now created these layers, and you can see now it's added these up to 256 with equal spacings between them, and then you can see now that they are morphed into one wavetable, and when we sweep, we get a nice sweeping blend. Okay, so let's go back in, let's undo that. So we've got our individual frames. Let's have a listen to what this sounds like. So I'm just going to hold a key. Let's just turn this down a bit. You can hear they jump, giving you that clicky sound, and that's not what we're aiming for here. So morph and crossfade. Now we have a nice smooth transition. So from here, let's take this and go to export. I'm going to export this as a 16-bit WAV for now. And what we can call this is, if we go back to our wavetables here, and we'll call this test waveform. Okay. Now we've exported that, that's done instantly. We can close Serum down for now. So let's open Rapid, and we'll go to this top one. So we'll deactivate oscillator B, enable oscillator A. So as you can see here, we have our factory sound banks and then all of your expansion packs down the left-hand side here. But if you create your own library, you can get the option to import wavetables and multi-samples. So if we go into Add Files, go in here, Test Waveform, Import. Now we're going to use it as a wavetable instead of as a sample, and constant waveform, and it's called test waveform. It's a SAW essentially, so I'm going to keep it in that category. You can obviously put them into your own categories. I'm going to click here, which is already selected, declick frames. Even though we've already blended it in Serum, I'm just going to keep it there just in case there's any sort of noises in there. And if it had a particular frequency that we exported at, i.e. like C4, C3 or something like that, that's where you'd put that in. Just going to leave it as it is, so we've got everything set as it came out of Serum. So you do have a lot of options there in terms of importing it, and feel free to have a mess around. So import, and there we are. We have our waveform, that's the first part, and if we cycle this morph, you can see it's changing to the different shapes that we made. You can see there's that little S curve there, and then the final one more into a square, and then to 0, as you can see there at the moment, because obviously the waveform isn't as big as some of them. So there's that square sound we made. And if we play this, if we just like, oh, we're on that track. So you can see the higher the note, the more cycles of that there are. And there is our original waveform, as you can see there. Let's cycle through those. So that is how easy it is to import, and obviously you can start making your sound then. So we could put on a analog low pass. Let's just create a little bit of a bass here. Let's just load an arpeggiator. Let's just draw. Oops. We're doing too much at once there. Let's just draw these notes across a second. And let's put them on 16ths. And there we are. We've just created a sound from using a wavetable there. That is the simplest of ways that we can do it. And there's a lot of other options that you can go through, but then we can start messing around with automation features. So we could go to the LFO here, drag this over to the morph, and obviously not too far, because obviously that wavetable doesn't occupy that end part, but we can morph between that end part and beginning part. It's set to bipolar, so let's just set this to up and down. That's better. And then mono ARP, so it's constantly in running. And we start to get some nice modulation. You can see it's modulating between the different shapes, but we've created those. And this is the best way that you could get your own sounds out of Rapid, by using your own wave tables, your own multi-samples. I could show you an idea in a future video where we make multi-samples. 7 seems to be kind of the sweet spot for me, where we export different octaves of the same sound and then you blend them into a multi-sample. Okay, so that is taking a Serum wavetable that we just quickly designed in 6 frames. You can have up to 256, I think, off the top of my head. I always forget these things. I think it's 256. And you can also do that with a sensor like here, Union. If we just close Rapid here for a second. Union, we can just do this, and I've just generated quickly. If we just add some distortion there, and generate the wavetable. So we get a wavetable there, and then when you go to the wavetable section, there's your position scrolling. You can actually save these as well and then import them in. So there's a couple of other synths that can do this. These are the two main ones that I'm using at the moment. So if you found that useful, let me know down in the comments. What I'll do is I'll actually include that test waveform for free. You can download that in the link and import it yourself into Rapid and have a go with that. It's a very basic thing, but then again, you can just use it and have a look at how things sound and all that lot. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, 3 videos per week, and also don't forget that over on Facebook we have the Demis Hellen chat, where people are sharing ideas and their progress on tracks and things. It's a good place to get feedback on your own work and chat to like-minded people. It's a very strong community, and it's nice to see it growing constantly. So if you are interested in that, head over and search for Demis Hellen chat, independent to the Demis Hellen music page, of course. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.